Colleen.
Hey there.
This is it's an interesting time, and you have this concept that you talk about how, like, laws and things are having trouble catching up to things.
Yeah. I mean,
right?
Anywhere laws move, laws and legislation always move slower than humans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But right now, humans are moving really fast.
Yeah.
And by the time they do one piece of legislation, they're already like 5 ideas past that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So what did you find for this week's Great Northern Sex Cast conundrum?
Conundrum in this one is Joseph Matthew Smith underwent gender change and is now Josie Smith, and they are releasing Josie from prison. He was sent away in 2015 for molesting up to 15 children. And after gender reassignment, the Iowa Attorney General is letting the 23-year-old out of jail. And they said that...
Are they saying what, the other gender is not capable of attacking a child?
And when Joseph Matthew Smith molested both boys and girls. So how is this not... How is this a good idea?
It doesn't make any sense at all whatsoever.
Okay. I thought it was just me.
No. I mean, and the thing is, this probably is why my daughter went to an interview the other day, and on the application, it actually asked. I mean, a lot of times people ask for a previous married name, but it actually says, "Have you had a job under any other names?" But so many people change their names or gender that, if you call up and ask for if you completely change your name, but what do you put down if you want a reference for someone? Mm-hmm. So I think they're asking, a polite way of saying, if I'm calling to ask for a reference, who should I ask for? Mm-hmm. I was going through there.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. This is kind of funny. Do you ever watch Wheel of Fortune?
Not a long, long time.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be on. You're making dinner. You're waiting for dinner as a kid. Homework. That would be what was on during that time of the day. Stuff like that.
Did you see any of the headlines about this? It's a pretty wholesome show normally, but they had something that everybody was like, "What?" And even Pat Sajak was like, giggled. So, long story, they were doing the before and after puzzle, and they combined 2 phrases with a common word in the middle. And the answer that got people laughing, gasping, and complaining was "brushing up on my Italian sausage," which it's actually a grilling expression. And the other one, a gal answered in another episode, "chasing tail," but it was "kicking back," was the other one. And so how is that lurid, any of it? Come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, okay, you have to work really hard, and pun not intended, or intended, whatever, to get that out of that. I mean, there are so many things. There's so many more things. I was like, seriously?
Do you not have anything else to get outraged about in your whole life?
I mean, you just said those things, and I could barely figure out why. I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, and I'm the person, I was purchasing, I was over at Barnes and Noble, and I was picking up a couple of books, and I glanced over, and they had a magazine, because that, like, Time, everyone will put out like single subject issues every now and then, and I looked over, and I thought it said like defining or understand. I think it was like understanding gender, a whole thing on that. But I looked over, and I thought it said like understanding Grindr, and I'm like, honestly, they both make sense.
Sure.
Yeah, let's go through there. But
Grinders are very confusing.
Yeah, but I glanced over and saw that, and so my brain, because of this job, can
really interpret.
Can come up with almost anything. Give almost anything something that it shouldn't be or naughtier. And I can't figure that out. So I'm not sure what people are doing in their spare time that they can.
Well, even what if you were brushing up on my Italian sausage? Well, that could be, what if you make Italian sausage?
Okay. So years and years ago, I had a car, I had a little BMW Z3, and I was bored one day. So I called up my friend Carrie. And we drove to Duluth for lunch because it was a lovely, lovely spring day. And as we're going back, top down, stuff like that, it's summer, so, we're wearing like tank tops. And she's very, 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 very blonde and very pale. And she was, I don't burn that. I'm part Italian, majority, I don't burn very much. So I'm not getting a mark on my shoulder from a seatbelt.
Oh, boy.
And and she actually turned and looked, and she married someone that is Italian, but that doesn't convey any, So she actually looked over me as we were driving and said, "I wish I had a little Italian in me." I almost drove off the fucking road.
That's cute.
It was I almost had to pull over at the next exit and like catch my breath. Thought it was like, because I just turned and I looked at her, and then she realized what she said, and we freaking lost it. So we giggle over, I wish I had a little Italian in me over the years. That was one of the best things ever.
That's fantastic. Those moments are so great. I love that stuff. This is kind of interesting. Do you ever watch House Hunters on HGTV?
I have. I mean, mainly in waiting rooms because people don't put the news on anymore, so they'll put it on either the Food Channel or HGTV. So I will see that. And my favorite. Oh, really? Okay, so the international one.
That's my favorite.
I want to find a 5-bedroom, 6-bath overlooking the ocean, but I don't want to spend more than $2.
Yeah,
I'm like, what do these people do? And some of these people are like, what do they do? Where are they getting this money?
I know.
No.
I know, it's amazing.
Yeah, at no point does anyone say, hey, this person's Aunt Frida died and said, go buy a house. Or, I managed to do people just magically have a zillion fucking dollars.
I know.
I don't know how this works.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Me neither.
But it is fun to look at the scenery.
Oh my gosh!
And then and we all know these things are set up. They've already bought the house, so they tend to go look at other ones and stuff like that. And I look and I go, why would you buy any of those? And most of the time,
do you guess?
I do. Right. Most of the time, I think the settings are beautiful, and all of the houses are hideous. I am a fucking house snob. I've said it before. I want things the way that I want things. And I look at this and go, oh, God. and they're always concerned about really dumb shit, too.
Oh, I know. Well, okay, just to put a fine point on what you were talking about there, it always makes me laugh when it's like, if they're Americans, because they do different nationalities, which is really, that's what makes the show so interesting to me. But when Americans are buying a house in some other country to spend half their time in, so not only do they have the money to buy the house, but they have the money to go back and forth all the time. And how do you keep making money if you spend half your time not
doing, I don't know.
I don't get it. That. I want to know more about these people. Well, we know a lot about this particular subject because this was not international, but House Hunters featured a throuple. Okay. And so it was a couple named Lori and Brian. They were married since 2002. And then they met this gal named Angelica. She goes by Gelly. They fell in love and they had.
They always seem to be 2 women and a guy.
Because,
how many? Yeah, I mean, I just go through there. I mean, really two guys. Then again, most women like that. It's too much goddamn work. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. I'm having.
No. It's okay. You're just trailing off. It's fine. But no, I mean, and Brian and Lori have 2 children, 10 and 12, and some people were like happy, other people were appalled, et cetera. And HGTV, that's actually kind of hard to say. HGTV's official stance is we feature all home buyers and living choices, which makes sense.
Yeah.
It's so I thought that was kind of interesting.
Oh. So were they looking for like a place that could have a really big bed? Do you just go through there? I
didn't see the episode. I'm just pointing out that this is kind of it's making its way.
I do find it fascinating. But I think one of the reasons the past 10 years of television that's driven me insane is that everyone treats any show like it's a toddler show and everything gets repeated like 3+ times.
Yeah. Yeah.
The recap that has to happen every day. I'm like, it's because they have 10 minutes of material and they got 22 minutes they got to fill. And I'm like, oh my. And as usual, I mean, I could come up with other questions.
Yep.
I'm just going through there. I mean, very rarely does someone, they sort of show the neighborhood, but you probably have to have permit. I don't know. I mean, yes, it's reality, but we all know it's still sort of fantasy TV too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Well, it might not be illegal to have sex if you're not married in Virginia anymore. Their state Supreme Court struck down their law as an unconstitutional government intrusion because it was a class 4 misdemeanor carrying a fine of up to $250. That
was probably used against women and folks of color more than anybody else because, believe me, they were not going to. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Their slogan is Virginia is for lovers. But anyway, so
that is oh my God, that is hilarious.
Isn't that funny?
I really hope the folks that were fighting I really hope the folks that say, by the way, our own freaking logo.
Yeah. Hello.
Catchphrase.
Hello.
Is, oh my God, that is hilarious.
I thought so too. Anyway, it passed their state house, so they're hoping that the Senate will pass it. They've got a Democratic majority. It probably will go. This is weird. This is really weird. I just thought I'd throw this in because it's so highly unusual. There's a town in India, a specific apartment building that has alcohol, a combination of beer, brandy, and rum started coming out of their faucets in the town called Kerala after a water well got contaminated. It was 6,000 liters of confiscated alcohol that had been seized and buried in a pit. Then it got into the soil and into their water. And so they said the children couldn't go to school and their parents couldn't go to work. Everybody was fucked up, until they figured out what it was. So,
yeah. I mean, honestly, if you're going to have something leak into your water supply, something like that eventually will run, I mean,
it would be somebody's dream come true, but not.
I know that people build like beer taps into their homes now, and have
my friends at the lake have one.
Yeah, and everybody has wine cellars and all that, but but just every faucet in your house.
Yeah, yeah. My friends at the lake, my friend Anne is a serious brewer, and she has got chops. I mean, serious chops. And they have it. It's really cool. They call themselves the Crooked Lake Brewery, and it's very cute. But this next one is cringy, but funny.
Okay.
So think about your parents who give you your honeymoon. They buy you a honeymoon. That's so nice. And they were so excited to take this all-inclusive trip. And when they went to take off, his parents, it's the groom's parents, gave him the trip, just bought themselves the same trip and went.
No. I have saved my parents and now my mom a fortune. They were fortunate enough to be able to pay for my sister's wedding, and then they contributed a fair amount to my brother's wedding also. And I was going through there, and they could do that. And I, believe they may have managed some of that may have included the honeymoon, but at no point in time do I know for a fact that my parents would have ever occurred to them that they would also go. To Hawaii. Mm-hmm. Oh,
yeah. No. Listen to what she wrote.
No, seriously, they show up at the airport. They had no idea, and they turn, and there are her in-laws?
Yes. Listen to this. She says, quote, "They knock on our door regularly, waking us up at 6 a.m., making us get all 3 meals with them. We've tried telling them we want alone time. They said that's what your room is for. We also tried faking illnesses to get out of eating with them, and they just got room service to our room and sat with us while we faked stomach aches. They told us they paid for this, and so we were going to hang out."
I honestly, I would get the marriage annulled.
They ran away to a neighboring town without telling his parents. And she posted, our train should be arriving in our final destination in the next 30 minutes. We found a hotel that's able to take us, and we're very excited about the next 4 days. Isn't that awful?
Oh my God. That is a high level of dysfunction. And at least it doesn't say anything in there, because I usually about whether, it sounds like the point of view is from the bride. But at one point, honestly, the story should have been from the groom going, my parents are fucking nuts. It sounds like he agreed, he didn't say, oh, let's just deal with it, go through there. But, that's just a line of intrusiveness that you don't want. I know
it's creepy.
Yeah.
And inappropriate. And
because it's not us, funnier in hell.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And I would have just gone, okay, no, I'm not getting on the plane. Nope. Bye-bye. Yeah. I'll go do a staycation.
Yeah, I would have put them on the plane, and then I would have, right before you could, I would have gotten on.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So Lena Dunham, we haven't talked about Lena Dunham in a long time.
What is she? What is she?
I don't know what she's up to right now. I know that she was on drag. What's the show where they drag queen?
RuPaul?
Yeah. She was a judge on one, but that's the only thing I've seen her in the last couple of years.
I will have to hit IMDb on that and see what's going through there. Because I know she's also a writer, so who knows what else she's doing.
Yeah, she's probably doing a bunch of stuff. She's only 33, but she did Runway. She was invited to wear a big mini dress. They call it a voluminous mini dress.
It's not one. Well, I've seen dresses that are made. This is Minnesota, so at least once a winter you see a dress that is made out of like puffy like puff coat material. Nice. That always makes me giggle. I'm like, oh my God. I said, well, it's got to be comfortable, but I would sweat to death in something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
But I think I would like to do that once, I think I would like to have someone dress me in something pretty and do something funky with. You really can't do too much of my hair. I've got it short, but do something like makeup, and
you could have a cool hat.
I think it'd be fun to I think it'd be fun to try that one. So, although now that I no longer can wear heels, I'm not sure what I managed to do because I don't know how folks walk. Sometimes. Stuff to go through there. I would just fall over. But I think it would be fun to do. Like, there was just an event last night for in town that was where local folks did stuff and all that. That'd be sort of fun.
Well, what makes me laugh is she immediately accepted when 16 Arlington is the name of the design team invited her to do it, and then she said, all of a sudden, then I realized, shit, I have to do this. And she's like, then the nervousness,
Oh, I'm sure I would be nauseous. I'm sure I'd be nauseous as hell.
Yeah.
There's a difference between acting in a part and then being yourself in public. Yeah. These are two, some performers are good at both things. Some are not good at being themselves in public.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, so she did it and she loved it and all of that, but I guess she looked real cute and all of that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So, the headline on this one says first gay super couple, but they've already featured a lesbian couple in one, but
what was the beginning? Sorry, I missed the beginning of this. What?
Oh, first gay super couple. In the upcoming movie Eternals, it'll be a Marvel, movie that'll feature
super as in superhero. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm okay.
Yeah, because you're like, hello, Elton John. What?
I'm like, yeah. I'm super.
Yeah, no. This is it's going to be an openly gay lead character, Fastos, and he's going to have a husband, and so it's going to be a big deal, and everybody's like saying this is interesting.
I'd be curious to see. If quote, I say this term because I read about it in articles. I'd be curious to see whether or not the fanboys who freak out over female leads in movies, if they'll freak out over you got guys. These are guy leads in a movie, so what
Yeah,
going, mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting. So. The Hot Octopus is being billed as the first Guybrator. Do you know?
Oh, that sounds familiar. Is that,
It's from Pulse Solo Essential.
I know. I'm pretty sure that was available on our old. They must have rebranded themselves because it sounds sounds very familiar. And if it's not,
They said it's perfect for people who suffer from erectile problems or for older people. And so Pulse Solo, and there's a whole line of it. So kind of interesting.
Oh yeah, I found what I found is that we got a line of masturbators in the other day. Basically, a lot of stuff for guys. And what I thought was fascinating is I looked at the packaging, and it had a guy in a full suit on it. It was a black vibrator, black masturbator, sort of a tube that you stick your dick in. Lots of things you can put your dick in. Yeah. And then it was black. You could barely see the product on the passenger. Barely see the product on the packaging. There we go. And the guy's fully dressed, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, honestly, the package. I said, this was really nice packaging, but it was. I mean, seeing a person that was fully dressed on packaging was completely different, because they've been actually taking people off of packaging. There's actually a lot of laws out there that actually target packaging to try and close down stores that look like mine. So they've been taking people off of that. And actually, I'm actually fine with it for a different reason, because there was a lot of really good product out there. But a lot of times, if you put someone on the packaging, then you're thinking, this is for a person with a vagina. This is for a person with a penis. And a lot of products can be used by a lot of different people with a lot of different body parts. Yep. And so taking away that immediate idea makes you just take a look at it, and someone can look at a product and go, well, how will this feel on my body? And not immediately gendering a toy in the adult idea.
They're starting to get more. I'm hearing stories, or I'm finding all sorts of stories where sex toys are being used, in different. They're talking about variety of use now, way more. So that makes sense. Yeah. That makes total sense to me. So this is just kind of so funny. A German farmer decided to plant "Will You Marry Me" in corn. And, that's cool, and there's, he waited for the...
So it's... Oh, it's like, yeah, that'd be really cute.
So he planted it, got it to grow, and then he gave his girlfriend a drone and said, I need you to check for wild boar out here. And then she saw it, and then he handed her a ring. But what was so funny is his aunt, who lives in Canada, sent him a text and a screenshot. She saw it on Google Earth. She's like, oh my God, you're getting married. He's like, wow. Isn't that weird? That's kind of cool.
Good thing that she didn't, mess as a surprise, but that's sort of fun. I get a big kick out of it occasionally. Do you ever just, you'll look up your own house and you'll see when the last time is they drove by.
Yeah. And I'm like, mine's from 2013.
So I'm sure that it's due for for another little Google thing, because I'm like, it was for a long time. My neighbor had a really, 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 really big ass tree. And so that's a tree-sized branch fell off the tree and crushed my fence and did a whole bunch of stuff. So that tree's gone. And so I've noticed that on some apps, Find My iPhone and different things, when you can look at it, the tree's gone. But in other apps, on different map apps, they haven't updated it. The tree's still there. And it took quite a long time, because I redid my house about 10 years ago, and for a few years, because they weren't doing it as often, I'm like, oh, that's not my house anymore, because I put new siding and a new color.
I think Google Earth actually is creepy. I really do. I have a problem with it. So, but yes, have I looked? Of course, we've all looked, but it's creepy. We always post the articles, and I know you're working on the Instagram angle of this. Yeah. To the Great Northern Sexcast social media, mainly the Facebook page. There's this article about an Australian woman who did an experiment with burning calories in sex, using sex as exercise. And in order to burn 200 to 250 calories, they had to have sex for about a half an hour, and they had to keep changing positions. And she said, it was fun, but then you cross over into that chore thing, and then the specialness.
When did it become work?
Yeah, and then she talks about talks about like, when you have 3 orgasms a day sounds enviable, but then it kind of diminishes those. You should read the article. It's really interesting.
Like I said, because at one point you're just like, this is not, some people are naturally really moist. Others may not be.
I know.
Do you have to get the right lube? Can at this point in my life, could I go that long without having to pee? I mean, I don't know. I know. I mean, yeah. I mean, and how old? How did they say how old they are? Because I certainly know that sex does not stay the same.
I have been told in many times in my life, for various reasons. My day job, I'm for all intents and purposes, I'm a researcher and a writer. But I'm told often that I should have gone to law school. Okay. and I might do that at some point still, as before, like maybe when I'm retired or something, just to do it. But that said, if I were a lawyer, I would want you on my team for scenarios, because you are Miss Scenario. I do not know anybody I have never met, talked to. Did you get your ear poked by the plant?
Yeah, I just like leaned back. I'm like, what the fuck just hit my head?
It's
like,
what is that one again?
It's a little ponytail palm, I think. Yeah,
it's a cool plant, but it's a little prickly. But seriously, you go down, and it's fascinating. And actually, it's a type of intelligence, because I contend, it is my serious belief that there are different types of intelligence, really. Yeah. And that is one of your really, I think, brilliant things. I mean, you just, and I love listening to you do that.
I honestly have no idea sometimes where my brain is going to go.
No,
but
I know.
Honestly,
it's a good thing.
I do think I do think that I get part of this from my dad, who had an absolute, he had a really exceptional memory.
Oh, did he?
He could tell you word for word what someone said in the work of his, stuff like that, going through there, stuff like that. But he also just, you could not get anything past him. Is going through there. Was going through. So
it sucked being parented by him, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
And but I didn't get the memory, but I do think I did get his particular brand of offhand comment, because sometimes I'd look at him and go, "What the hell did you just say?" It's going through there.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So moving to the next story, because I forget what we were originally talking about. So. Yeah, I don't either.
That's another thing. I don't know.
So obviously you didn't get the memory thing from your dad. So there is an expose on Victoria's Secret toxic culture. Gee, surprise! A company that puts scantily clad women.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, what I'm fascinated about is that they have not, they finally stopped the fashion show, but I'm thinking they're 15, 20s too late in any possible rebranding. They either just got themselves sold or sold themselves off or did something. I saw something in the news business-wise. But it would have been so easy 15, 20 years ago to add multiple sizes of women in product. It would have been easy enough to finally add folks that may not have been the whitest of white. I mean, they did not grow with everybody else thinking they were going to stay. I mean, they're shutting down stores, they're doing some things, and I know that they're in. I don't know if they got sold. Yeah, I mean, it's going through there, so it's going through there. But I mean, they used to have something called a T-shirt bra. That was a medium priced, well done, just padded enough bra that you didn't have all those seams, under T-shirt, and your nipples didn't poke out, and the whole sort of thing. And it was a well-made thing, and I really liked it. And so I'm not going to say that there's stuff. This stuff's overpriced. I mean, hell, I know I can eyeball and probably tell you who's making that shit, but it wasn't crap. But I mean, and I have to admit, also used to piss me off that the posters they could have in their mall windows, and then the stuff that and then Fantasy Gifts can't put a mannequin in in a window that is a hell of a lot more clothed than anything in their stores. But
yeah. So, well, they There's a guy named Ed Razik. He was a former top executive, which was at L Brands, which was the parent company. He's accused of all sorts of just awful, awful stuff. I
don't doubt that, because he probably figured it was a perfect place to get a job or do something. And he was probably never told no for years. Nothing's changed forever.
Yeah. And, they had to accept it. Just some really bad stuff. And then there's another guy, Leslie Wexner, and his close relationship with sex criminal Jeffrey Epstein. So really a lot of really crappy, nasty stuff. So I don't feel terrible that, they're going away, but
no, there's, they could, like I said, they could have easily evolved, and they chose not to.
No, they didn't. It was really, okay. This is weird. Interesting. Weird. Okay. So, suspicious partners can now order DNA infidelity tests to prove whether their other halves have strayed. It involves evidence being sent to a lab for analysis, like underwear, bedding, condoms, cigarette butts, strands of hair, or chewing gum. But this company is also offering a semen detection test, a gender test to see if it's from a man, a woman, and all of that other kind of stuff. But the thing is they are being conducted discreetly, and it's against the law in Britain, where this is all starting. So you can't go take and analyze somebody's DNA
without permission.
Or criminal, situation. Companies in the United States and Ireland do have these things too.
There's an entire. You go to Walgreens right now, and there's an entire row of testing stuff, whether it's DNA or marijuana or this or that. I'm assuming they'd probably do it at other places.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. Yeah. So, it's pretty interesting. 10 years ago, it was private investigators. Then there were lie detectors, and now we're in
do it yourself
DNA.
That just seems. I don't know. It's just. I suppose that. If someone is being, you've got someone's just being deceitful about sex, but if someone's being deceitful about sex and you've got one hell of a prenup or this or what's going through there, you need some sort of actual proof of stuff going on. Mm-hmm. But, but I just don't, who knows whether or not any of the stuff, like you said, obviously it's not legal in Britain, but who knows, when how it could be used here. And you can't record some people sometimes as long as one person knows, or I don't know, it's all very weird that way. It
is very weird. And there's another story. We talked about last week, South Dakota trying to get a law passed that would fine doctors and severely otherwise penalize them for gender treatments to people under 16.
So it just means that people would travel other places, but okay.
Right. Okay. So USA Today did kind of a spread on what doctors, some highlights about, the issue. So doctors are saying, they say all relevant major medical organizations disagree with the South Dakota bill, saying they provide guidelines. They say start transgender children on puberty blockers around 10 or 11, other things around 16, and no genital surgery before 18. And they believe that gender-affirming care saves lives. It's what you said last week when we were talking about this, because so many transgender kids that don't, they kill themselves. And,
and I said before, is that is there, and I don't know how much, and I would assuming that there is a mental health component to all of that too when they're doing that, because there's a lot going on.
Yep.
Besides that, I think someone knows when their brain and their body don't match.
Yep.
But to what level of what's going on, stuff like that. It's a multidisciplinary sort of process that's going through there. And I don't think there's a show that goes by that I said that you're never going to get something right 100% of the time.
Yeah.
But for the most part, listen to the science. And the only thing that should change science is better science, not someone's personal beliefs.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agreed. Well, then listen to this. There's the article also cites it says roughly a dozen studies show that around 85% of gender dysphoric children who do not take puberty blockers are later satisfied with their sex after puberty if they have counseling. That line right there sounds to me like the people that try to convert gay people. What does that mean? What does counseling mean? I mean, that freaks me out. And obviously there's another section talking about the politics. So this is going to be in the news more and more. And just wait and see.
Until they find something else to divide people over while they're distracting from the other things.
Yeah. And, it's a bugger. This is a little funny, but I don't know. I mean, I think everybody involved just needs a smack on the head. So if you work for the police, and this particular female cop worked for a Russian police department.
Okay, so it's not like the person answering the phones in 911. It's an actual officer. Okay.
It says police official.
Okay.
She decided to enter a Playboy contest, and she came in second, meaning that her naked picture was in the magazine, and they didn't like it, so they fired her. And
I'm going to go, she probably knew that before she did it. There are so many rules when you sign a contract for a lot of jobs nowadays. There is no way in hell she did not know. Is that something that could possibly use to compromise her job? In this day and age, probably not. But if it was there, yeah.
Well, she's got a new job as a tour manager. So she's going to be helping people quote organize their dream holiday. And so
we're walking. She hold up a big sign.
I'm probably doing the little point, whatever. So I don't know.
There's got to, there are a lot. Not that it should make any difference, but there are probably a lot of jobs that if you were nude in another job, negates your first job. Yep, it shouldn't, because who gives a crap? Their bodies, but it still is.
Yep. Yeah. So that's pretty much all I got. So, I think if a company wants to say, "Hey, we need you to not pose nude in magazines if you're going to work here," okay, fine.
I had to write up a little blurb once that said, someone was running their real estate business on my time in a store but since I didn't have that written down in the manual, when I fired him, he actually ended up getting unemployment, and so I just promised that only. So I finally had to put that you just don't do another job on my time. Yeah. I don't give a crap, honestly, to some extent, what you do on your time, but you can't do it on my time.
Yeah.
And I was just, oh my God.
That's a shame.
It was so frustrating.
Yeah.
that you actually I actually had to spell that out.
Yeah. Well, and you have so many people that work at Fantasy Gifts, Colleen, that have been here for such a long time. Yeah. You've got a really good group, but I would imagine to some level it's retail. Yeah. It's got to be hard to find some good people.
Oh, yeah. It is tough. Anyone. My friends that are traveling, it took them forever to get to the airport because the airlines and TSA, and everyone's understaffed.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to go out in public to purchase anything, if I'm going to do anything, I just have to resign myself to being zen about it. Because
a happy place.
There just aren't enough people. We just...
She's okay.
Especially in Minnesota. It was just hard to find folks that can cover some of these jobs.
Yep.
And so I'm just like, okay. Yeah, if I'm going to go to Target on a weekend, I better sit back and be, and be comfortable waiting in line, because there's going to be a line.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, you have a good vacation.
I am so planning on it. It's for our friend's birthday, so it's going to be even more fun.
Well, enjoy and safe travel.